Welcome to Two Side Outdoors, your hunting, camping, fishing, survival techniques, and everything outdoors. Enjoy the podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode. So, this episode is basically going to be just talking fish and everything else, I guess. Whatever else we want to talk about.
Cool.
Heck yeah.
So today I got two guests. One of them I had on, about 2 months ago, 3 months ago?
Yeah, it was April, right before I went to New Mexico.
Yeah, in April, yeah.
Yep.
So let's introduce you guys. Who wants to go first?
Well, Joseph Lugo, born and raised, native from Yuma, Arizona, doing the 928 Flathead Boys thing. Just here to have some fun and talk about what we love to do.
Cool.
Sounds good, man.
I got Brandyynn over here.
Yes, sir. Brandyynn, originally from California. Been here in Yuma, Arizona for about, I don't even know how long, actually. I moved here in 2009, and I've been here ever since. Same thing, man. Ready to get in and dig into some talk about some fishing, man.
Let's see, and I'm still a freshie here. It's like I've only been here since September.
Oh, man. Man. Well, you're one of the best places of fisheries, man.
That's what I've been hearing and slowly seeing.
That's for sure. And we have some good information. Joe is.
Oh no, yeah, it's
one
like
of the good ones,
he's been such a help so far. It's
Definitely.
like all the stuff that I've been learning. It's awesome.
Definitely, man. Definitely not afraid to share information. If you're willing and open and to learning. You know what I mean? A lot of people weren't open, to hearing things, but. Yeah. If you are, you can definitely learn a lot.
Definitely.
Just don't ask me for my spots.
Especially not the bait spots.
Bait spots, yeah, that's out of the question.
Yeah,
you're on that.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, that's where it all starts too. I think that's one of the biggest areas where you need to start, especially when it comes to fishing for
finding your bait fish.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Because you can't fish for flatheads unless you have the proper bait.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's a big factor when it comes down to fishing for these catfish and stuff.
Definitely.
So it's like I've tried like different things with like baits. I've used frozen bluegills before.
Mm-hmm.
Cut them up, used them. Had a few bites here and there, but it was more, I think, channel cats kind of just doing little nibbles here and there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Usually, like when that's happened to me, it depends on obviously the waters you're fishing and the presentation. But I've always upsized when I'm getting those smaller hits like that.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, yeah, they're still gonna peck at it, but eventually they're gonna, the big boys are gonna come in. And once those big boys are gonna come in, that's it. Those little guys. I mean, they'll still stay close. They'll stay persistent, but I've upsized, and at that I've downsized as well when the bite was slow.
Okay.
And I remember one year we went out, me and my buddy, and we weren't getting nothing. It was just here and there, so we downsized. We went from big live bait to big cut baits to 1-inch cubes, 1-inch pieces,
Little pieces of
on like a 6/0 hook, and we started nailing them. We pulled a 28 out. I caught a 28 off a 1-inch piece of bait on a 6/0.
Oh dang.
And that's crazy, and that is something too. Like you always have to try. What I usually always tell people is to think outside of the box.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because like Joe was saying, there are times where these fish they're picky. Sometimes they want to have something big and juicy, and sometimes they just want something that's just available. You know what I mean? Exactly. And that's something that you kind of have to understand and learn as you go on. You know what I mean? As far as even switching up rigs and changing different things. It's fishing different spots. Something that may not look fishy may be fishy. You know what I mean? And there are times with the flapper. There's a bait that I use called the flapper, and Joe saw it firsthand, dude.
Fire.
Saw it firsthand, and I learned it from a fellow fisherman because again I was using small little cut small pieces of cut bait, and I was asked, "What are you doing?" I was like, I'm using this cut bait. Like, no, put the whole fish on there. You pretty much cut the head off. You can either cut the head off, but you pretty much fillet it. So it opens up. It opens up and it floats in the water. Yeah. Since so much sit in the water, I didn't think nothing of it. And these little fish are hitting these big baits like that. You know what I mean?
Dude, when I first seen him do that, he's got big tilapia. I'm talking about big tilapia.
Palm sized or more?
Yeah. I'm hooking them, and all of a sudden I hear, dunk. What are you doing? I'm killing my bait. He's throwing the bait, killing it, He starts filleting it, and I'm watching him, and I'm taking it in, because I'm always learning, I don't know everything, and I'm always willing to learn. So I'm watching, and I swear to God, dude, it looked like a tortilla.
Literally flattened it out.
It looked like a tortilla, and I'm like, all right, Brandon, you're good.
There's no way.
You're good, but all right.
No way, bro.
Dude.
Questioning the logic.
20. Pulled in a 20 plus.
Oh, wow.
10, 15 minutes in. I'm like, all right. At that, okay, maybe. Luck. I don't care what anybody says. Luck is part of fishing.
Yes, it is. It is.
Part of anything.
It is.
Brings just another one. I hear thunk. He's killing the second bait, All right. Cuts it up. Fillet. Yeah. Flaps it out. Throws it on. Another tortilla out there. Bam. He caught like 2 or 3 in less than an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, all right. I'm a believer now. It works, So he ain't lying.
I can see that. Like how you said it just sends out so much scent right there.
Yeah. No, it's and again, they're picky. You know what I mean? There's been times where he's caught fish in front of me, and I have my baits in the same spot, and I'm using tilapia, and he's using cut carp.
Yeah. Right.
And he's pulling 20 plus pounders.
No,
out,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just. It's one of those things where you just have to try different things and experience different things, and there's a lot of trial and error, man. There's been times where and I know Joe, you've experienced it too. There's been times where I've gone out for months at a time and nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, I go out and I'm trying something different, and boom, I'm catching multiple fish. You know what I mean? Week after week. It's just there's a lot of trial and error with it. But you continue to learn, and that's one of the things that I try to tell people.
See, that's how it was when I first started fishing out here. Was that went out to what is it like that Gila Gravity? Mm-hmm. It's like a Y right there.
Y.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. And seen a lot of little bait fish. Was trying for channel cats right there, and nothing. Got skunked there each time that we went. Went to Fortuna a few times. Nothing. And then finally, I think they had just planted some trout or something like that. Threw out a garlic chartreuse trout float. Catfish hit it.
And you see that.
And I was like, what the heck?
And it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah,
So it's a tiny little trout hook.
Yeah.
Right on the lip.
Yeah. We were fishing this area one time, and my brother, he hit something, and this thing's fighting, bro. Just fighting. And he's bass and striper fishing, right? He's throwing a big Rapala, 4 or 5 inch Rapala. Mid diver, it dove about 3 feet, And he's like, dude, I got a trophy on. So he goes down there and he's like, it's a flathead. 13-pound flathead.
That's dope, man.
I'm like, all right, that's one of those situations where, okay, look, cool, you threw it in the right place.
Right time.
So here I go. Boom. Bam. Fighting, all right, I got a monster on. 12-pound flathead.
That's awesome.
12-pound flathead.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool, dude.
So where we're
That's
fishing,
an experience, dude.
Yeah, where we're fishing, the guy that runs that area, I'm not going to get my spots up, but the guy that runs that area, the water, comes down and we tell him, he's like, BS.
He didn't believe.
Goes up, gets his rod, comes down, throws a similar crankbait, boom, maybe 10 casts in. Told you guys, bam. All right,
that's crazy, man.
10-pound flathead. That day, that day they were hitting anything that hit that water. They were. It was just,
I wonder if it was just something with the water temp or something, or just the clarity of the water. So it's like they seen.
You'll never know.
Yeah, never know. And the thing is, you can't tell. I know I can't when that day will ever happen again. You can't look at the weather. Oh, the barometer. Oh, the dew point. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think so. I really, it's just one of those days where something triggers them, and it's just fire.
They're finicky, man. They're finicky. They're probably one of the pickiest. Those flatheads, man. They're picky. They're very difficult.
Well, see, so it's like I was watching this thing the other day.
Kids.
Kids, man. On TV, talking about like sharks and stuff, and how a lot of sharks they pick up just electrical signals and stuff that are in the water. I wonder, catfish, do they do the same, just movement and stuff? It sends a signal through the water, and because of their whiskers and stuff, picking up all these things.
They're like a big taste bud. They say they're pretty much like a taste bud, and vibration, just like you know bass. You know they and I used to bass fish a lot back in the day until I got hooked onto this whole flathead thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, that completely changed my whole aspect of fishing. You know what I mean, but I do believe that, man. I definitely do believe that
it's crazy because the way I was raised, again, bass fishing, that's all we did. You know, bluegill, and we caught a catfish. It was like, get that thing back in the water. You know, like forget
there's some people that are like that's like catfish.
It eats nothing but dead stuff.
Exactly. That's a bottom feeder. They're bottom feeders. Okay, whatever. Yeah. So my dad would always tell us, you know, you got to be quiet. Carolina rig, live bait, got to be quiet. You know, you don't want nothing on the water. You know. And I stuck to that, and I've always caught big fish using that. But now, you know, with all these baits, you're talking about noises and rattles and all that, and the whiskers and all that. All these rattle baits, the Demon Dragons.
Yes, and I'm a big fan of those.
Yeah, the Versa. I mean, it's crazy because it's changing the game, and they work. And you're, like what Brandon said earlier, trying new stuff, thinking outside the box. Give it a try. I was against it when I first started seeing them. No, you got to be quiet. Shh, you know. Nah, you throw those out, and that rattle, and they want to come see
what it is.
What it is. What that is.
What's making that noise?
Then they come in, and that to me, that's the way you get them in. And then once they come in and they start sensing that fresh bait, or they start seeing that bluegill,
fish in distress,
or that flapper, you know? Yeah, it. Like you said, think outside the box. It works.
Well, it's like when you told me the other day about the stinger hook setup. That's what I used, and that's how I caught that fish. I was like, damn, this works.
Yeah, right? I've been trying to get on those too, man. 'Cause I know Joe's, you know, he's been saying that the ratio, and I've looked up, you know, some reviews on those things, man. And those things, I think the point of those hooks are, they're a lot better than, because I'm so used to using, what I use, those, the Gamagatus or whatever, the circle hooks. And I usually... Because I know, like, with the flatheads, their mouths are a lot wider, other than, like, channels and blues. And obviously, we don't have blues here, which people say we do, but we don't. That's another topic.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, that's it, but I usually try to bend the hooks a little bit to where the gap, it's kind of offset a little bit more, because I feel like that also helps with, like, the hookup ratio as well.
What it does is you're getting... So if you look at a hook without an offset... That point when it comes around and you look at the shank, it's like it's straight. And you only have so much. Now I know, and you can probably verify this in the state of California, there's regulations on that. It can only be so wide, and you can't use offset. As far as from what I've read, I don't think you can use offset.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
well, I think it's just you can have still offset some of them, but they have to be under a certain size.
Yeah. So. All my hooks now, all the hooks that I do, the Whisker Seeker and the Daiichi, whatever.
Those are good too.
Those are good. But those ones just have a little offset. So I used to use, I don't know if you remember, I used to use the Catmax 9-aughts, you know, circle hooks, and they didn't have an offset. So I would put an offset on them, and it gets that bar, and you have that point is fully exposed. You know, and when it gets in his mouth and that thing turns,
it's a wrap.
Yeah, that's a wrap. You don't because you get a you know, you know, people use certain size hooks. You know, like I've been using 7, 8, and 10.
That's usually what I use
for the last couple of years, and you get a big, you know, 40-pound, 50-pound flathead, you know, and he hits a 7-aught hook, and there's no gap in there. I mean, is that, you know, when you grab a big flathead. It's like a bar.
It's like you can feel that lip.
You feel. There's no way that hook's gonna go around. I mean, he can get hooked. I'm not saying he can't. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I just feel with that offset, it helps your chances.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, it's like if you look at like their mouth. So it's like you have that whole, like how you said, that bar.
Yeah.
But then you just have the little area where it'd be like, I guess, their cheek more or less, and that would be the one spot that you'd still have a decent access.
Yeah.
If it goes that way.
Yeah, it's a trip, man. So, like, again, he said it, and I'm going to keep continuing to preach it. Try different stuff, man. Try different setups. Try different hooks.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to find something that works, and then all of a sudden, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You're
like, what did just happen?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm so used to catching fish on this, and look, like, what am I doing? You know? But that's the thing, and that's where a lot of people, like, I've had a lot of buddies, you know, and that, you know, oh, I want to go fish with you. I want to go do this and that, and I'm very, I don't know what the word is, but I'm kind of like, I wouldn't say standoffish, but I'm kind of like, I don't really there's not many people that can handle and deal with the upset. You know what I mean? Because people see, for instance, Joe or me or anybody else posting these big fish, and they're like, oh yeah, they think that it happens all. And yes, it does happen a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. But we're constantly out there. You know what I mean? And I've had a lot of people that have wanted to go, and they bought all this gear and done all this stuff, and then they've given up because they haven't caught anything. It's you got to be consistent with it. You know what I mean?
No,
you have to be consistent with it.
I've had so many, customers in the last, 2 years, newbies. I call them newbies. Guys that they want to come out and they go full blown. There's a handful of them that have gone full blown. Rods, 2 rods, 2 reels, $400 worth of rods and reels, plus their tackle. They leave my shop $500 worth of stuff, and they're ready to rock and roll. A couple months later, I see it posted on the page for sale.
I've seen it too.
What's going on? Because I'll send them a private message. Hey man, what's going on? You don't like the gear, or you find something better? Nah, I'm getting bored. It's not me. I'm not catching nothing. And I'm like, dude, you got to keep trying.
You got to keep grinding,
don't
man.
Give up, and then that's where I'm like, okay, come out with me. Let's go. I'll take you to some spots, and I'll get you on some fish.
Get you exposed to that adrenaline.
Yeah, and then
that adrenaline rush, man. It changes.
And it's happened a couple times, and they've gone with me, got them on a 15, 20 pounder, and they're hooked. Then they're they're set. They're like, dude, thanks. When I was getting frustrated, and I'm not a guide or anything like that, but I mean, I have my spots.
Yeah,
I have some spots where I can go out and I know that I can catch fish. They might not be big, but I can catch fish.
But it's enough to get somebody turned on to me, because again, you catch a 10-pound flathead, man, it's still a big difference between catching one of those and it's an adrenaline rush.
Oh, no, yeah.
Your 8-pounder.
Yeah.
How'd it feel?
That freaking was amazing.
But you see what I mean, though? But that's, and not everybody has the ability to even catch something like that. How long did it take you to catch that?
About 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Wow. And you might not catch nothing the next couple times either.
Yeah.
But
stick with
for if you're hardcore and you love it, that one makes up for it. It's like, who cares?
Oh, no, that was freaking awesome, because it was just like, I sat there for so long that it seemed like just sitting there.
Like, am I going to catch it?
Yeah, I was like, am I going to catch anything?
Really at?
And then all of a sudden, I hear the bait clicker just go, and it took off.
Your heart started pounding up. That's the best feeling ever, man, when them clickers go off, man. Oh, yeah, it's an adrenaline rush, man. And, I advise anybody that, and it's not even just flatheading, man. It's just fishing in general. It's good for your health. It's good, for your well-being. I wish I can get out a lot more, especially with Joe. I love fishing with this guy. We're always bouncing information off of each other. You know what I mean? Learning different things, and it's just about, and it builds a lot of character. It builds relationships. Even with the kids, man. Like, to see. I just went out this past week on the Alamo, it was the New River. And my kids wanted to go, and I'm like, dude, it's hot. We're coming back from camping, and I'm like, dude, it's 100-something degrees out here, man.
Yeah.
But
and it's hotter over there.
And it's a lot harder over there, man. It's a lot hotter over there, and the spots that I knew that there would be fish, I didn't have access to, but I was like, you know what? These fish are everywhere. Yeah. Let me use my knowledge. Let me see what I can do to get these. Dude, and sure enough, I got these kids on some fish, man. And they were happy to see their faces, and they're all excited and stuff like that. It's an awesome
always
thing,
awesome
man.
like that.
It's an awesome thing, and
they were quality fish too.
Oh, dude, yeah, they were definitely quality fish, man. On that, I'm gonna start calling that the JoJo rig. I'm gonna start calling that the JoJo rig, man, because he put me on it, man. Like, I've used it before, and I stopped by his pad one day to pick up one of his bags or whatever, and I saw it, and I was like, Joe, I've been using that rig, man, and sure enough, we got into conversation about it, and I've been on it ever since, man. And that day, I caught all those fish on that rig, that 3-way rig, man.
What? Speaking of that rig, what weights are you using on that one?
That one I had 4. I was using 4. I was using a 4 ounce.
Oh, you're using those coin ones, huh?
Yeah.
You got a bunch of those.
Because they were laying flat. Because they lay flat, and they don't. You know what I mean? Those discs. I don't know what disc coin, whatever. But they lay flat. You know what I mean? So the current or whatever goes right over. There's.
Are you tying it directly?
Yeah, tying it directly.
See, what I kind of started doing now is getting like a snap swivel to adjust.
I didn't think about that.
To adjust accordingly. So And that way, when you get home and you leave your rig tied up, having that sinker on there is a pain in the butt.
It is. I had to wrap it around.
Yeah.
Had to wrap it around my handle, and
so you do a snap swivel, and you can just take it right off, leave that line hanging, or you can clip that line on your keeper.
I did not think of that.
And then, like I said, at that you can adjust accordingly to the water conditions, the current.
You see what I mean? You see what I mean? I'm over here struggling, they're all knocking everything around. The wave's hitting all my women's stuff in her car and stuff, and she's all mad.
Well, especially because I'm using those custom painted rods from Chris.
Beautiful rods, bro.
Yeah, I don't want to
ding all those up.
Yeah, and I'm using heavy. You guys all know I use 8 ounce, 6 and 8 ounce. And those things are hitting it around. I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm just scratching my rods,
Wait till it chips.
Yeah,
He's really going to think, like, man, I'm not doing this no more.
Right? And, so it's just it's an easy way to just take it off, and put it back on. And
appreciate you.
Adjust.
Oh, yeah. That's smart.
Learn something new. I'm telling you, man. Like, I learned something new, and that's what I'm appreciative. You know what I mean? Because you bounce off information off of each other, and you learn something new. So now I'm not gonna get in trouble anymore. And knocking everything around in the toilet. So
and that rig right there, it's you got the one knot that's on your hook. It's a Palomar, but it's not. Like as if you use a bass rig and you run your knot, this and that, and you got to take it off every so often. You could leave that one on.
Oh yeah.
I'm a believer in changing your knots every trip. You can leave that one on.
Yeah.
You can leave it on, and I mean, you can catch big fish.
Oh, yeah. That's a tight knot, too.
It's not gonna... no pun intended. It's not gonna... you're not gonna have issues with it.
Yeah. No, I love that rig, man.
And that's another one, too. Like, if you get hung up, say your weight gets stuck on the bottom, you got to brake. It's going to break right there at the weight, and you're going to get your hook back at least. You're not as to where Carolina rig.
It gets caught right inside.
You're going to lose the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's a pain.
I know that ordeal there.
That's a pain.
Right. And and that's the thing, if you're not losing baits, you're not fishing in the right spots, But it is.
That's a big thing too, man. I've lost a lot of hooks, a lot of weights, a lot of fish.
Yeah, oh man, especially fishing over there too.
This this guy, Joe, had to have hooked up on. I think it had to have been a 50-pounder, dude.
It was a big boy. That rod.
He couldn't control, but he couldn't control the fish, man. He could not control the fish. He could not control it, man.
That was my fault too, because
those hooks.
For some reason, I wasn't hooking anything with a circle hook. I was getting frustrated. And when you start getting frustrated like that, you start losing your cool.
Yeah.
Something's not working. And I went outside of my game on what I usually, and I preach to try different things, but I went backwards.
Yeah.
I backpedaled, which sometimes works.
Yeah.
In this case, it bit me in the foot. I went back to the 9-aught J hook.
Just a regular. Okay.
And I hadn't been using J hooks for a while, but I started selling these awesome J hooks, and they work. Don't get me wrong, they do work. I'm not bashing my own, but I get this run, click, 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 and I'm like, there he is. Brandon gets his camera, he starts rolling. I said, I said again, 2 hard sets, and I'm fighting in. Like Brandon said, I couldn't do nothing with him. He's pulling line, and that rod, I got a picture. I'll show you. I got a picture of that rod. It's one of my Muddy River flathead rods, and it was just straight. I mean, it looked like a
curved
U.
Just curved it, basically.
Yep,
dude. It was in the water.
Yeah.
The rod was in the water, like under the boat.
Oh, dang!
And you could kind of feel the boat
shifted a little.
Yeah, and so everybody were just like, "Oh, it's on, dude."
I have a video of it, I think.
And watch, you'll see. Spits the hook, dude.
Oh, whoa!
I'm like, no. Yeah.
Dang. Takes him for a ride, dude. He's trying, and you can see the fishes. Like, he's right there. Popped right out.
Yeah.
Damn.
And he could not move the fish. He could not move him.
Nope.
And you see, Joe is not a small dude.
He got me. He was overpowering me, man.
And we were fishing a nice spot too. We were fishing a nice current, like a nice big bend. And that's another thing too, fishing bends and stuff like that. Like those fish like to hide in because they're those bends, especially outside bends, if you have the current coming, those outside bends are pretty deep because of how the current's flowing.
Yeah.
And they usually sit on those outside bends, and then on the inside is where it's shallow, and that's where a lot of the bait fish and stuff. So they usually sit inside those deep bends, and they come up to feed usually at night in those shallow areas. And where we're fishing, man, that was like it was a little deep pocket right there, man. And I just wish we would have got that thing on the boat, dude.
I just wish, and that's one of those things where that water, it's like chocolate milk.
Oh, yeah.
It's
wow.
It's mud, murky. It's just nasty water, but you can't see until they surface.
Yeah.
You know, once they surface, then you're just, but this dude wouldn't, he was glued to that bottom. And that's what those big dogs do. They just.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like also because, you know how catfish have those barbs? If they use those to an advantage when they're stuck somewhere, if they have structure of some sort that they can hook into, they just stop.
I wouldn't doubt.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I wouldn't doubt it, man.
Or so,
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, you never know. You know, I mean, I've never seen it, but
I've seen them like that where, like, say, some sort of animal's trying to eat it.
Yeah.
And it goes and it just sticks in their mouth, so it's like they can't swallow them.
What's a small channel cat? Even a big one. What do the channel cat do when you get them? When you go get them off the hook?
Man, I've gotten stuck with them things.
Yeah,
I have a scar on my knee from that.
I remember you were telling me about that story. Yeah. So I mean, it could.
You just never know.
It could be.
You just never know, man. Those catfish are something else, man.
Yeah,
definitely. And we're unfortunately, like, I think in our area, it's a little different than, I think, you know, fishing in the South and, you know, Mississippi River. You know, there's a lot of structure, man. There's rocks, there's rock piles, there's log piles, log jams, trees. Yeah. Here we're pretty much mud bottom, right? Pretty much a mud bottom and tullies, you know. So I think for us, it's a little harder for us to consistently catch big fish, which I know they're out there, man. Like, we know they're out there. You know what I mean? But definitely. I think that's our area is definitely different, and I think it's a lot harder. So when you do catch big fish, you hold that hold that pride, man. You know what I mean? Like, you carry like that. That's something that you should carry with you everywhere you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Heck yeah, man.
So, yeah, I enjoy it. Definitely love it, man.
Same here.
Definitely love it.
That's why I'm doing what I do, because I want everybody else to learn it and enjoy what I enjoy.
It's like, I need to get my wife on a fish. She so far is convinced that there's no fish out here in Yuma.
After all the pictures she's seen too,
she's like, "You bought that from the store."
Let me get you out one time, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, my woman's caught some decent ones too. Like, now I guess her fun is all out of it, but she's my good luck charm, so I try to take her anytime I go. Every time she goes, man, I catch something. I don't know what it is. It's, you know, but
that's
good, she enjoys it though.
The last few times that it's like me and my wife have gone out fishing, it's nothing. But I don't know if that was because it was when we did start going out, it was wintertime, so it's like nothing was really biting.
Yeah, that's
and right now with the spawn as well.
Yeah,
same boat. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna they're being caught, but
we haven't really gone out since I think it was like December or something like that. With me and her.
And then right now it's so hot. She probably don't want to go.
Yeah,
you know, and I don't blame her.
Mosquitoes. You know? They're bad right now. They're real bad right now.
Thermocells.
That's what I got. Yep. 15-foot range. Things
Game
work,
changer.
man. They do, man.
When we go on the boat, we usually have 3 thermocells going.
Oh, that's
kind of overkill.
Hey.
But no, it works, man.
It works.
You gotta get myself one of those things.
Yeah.
Don't use bug spray on the hands either when you're trying to fish either. Because I think that I'm a personal believer. I think unless you have gloves on, I'm a personal believer when you touch the bait. That even with us, like when you smell
oily residue to it.
Yeah, and just that smell of that bug spray, like, it kind of makes you like, it's like a strong, like, I don't even know how to say like what it smells like or what it, you know what I mean. But I know for a fact that it'll affect how the fish's senses are, and they won't want to go near that thing. You know what I mean? So if you do, which I get it, you know, use bug spray if you can, but the Thermacell is the way to go.
Yeah, we've been using Thermacells now for, I don't know, two seasons now. I think this is my second season using Thermacell. And I still carry bug spray, But mainly for my little guy, my son Tristan, he's allergic to mosquitoes. Ooh, yeah. So I have to spray him down.
Kids too, man.
Yeah.
When they get bit, they have all kind of bumps and all
big old welts everywhere.
This dude, we went out fishing one time, and he was with us catching bluegill. It was the night that my buddy Alfredo caught his PB. He caught a 40-pounder.
Yeah, I remember him posting
that night. And then during the day, we went out and we caught some bait, and I took my little guy with me. He loves to fish, you know. He caught over half of our bait. Well, he got bit on the ear.
Oh man!
And
ear swelled up and whatnot.
Well, the next morning his ear was hanging over. It was so swollen that it couldn't support its
from the weight.
Oh man!
We had to take him to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "Yep, he's severely allergic to mosquitoes." We're like, "Do we carry an EpiPen?" He's like, "No, it's not going to get that bad. He's just going to welt up that bad. It's going to be." And then he's got bit in the eye.
I was just going to say, man. Ouch.
Yeah. So I took him out. We went out, I think it was last season. It wasn't last season. It was season before last. We went upriver. I went with David Kuhn on his boat.
Cool.
Took
guy
Tristan
too.
out there. Yeah, and Tristan got to tag, I think, 6 flathead.
I remember that. That's an awesome experience, bro. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yep. He was stoked about that.
That's awesome.
We ended up getting caught in a rainstorm that night. Well, that next morning, Tristan woke up, and he had probably 30, 40 mosquito bites on his whole body.
God,
I felt so bad. He had to stay home from school that Monday because it was just so bad. And my wife, of course, she chewed me out. This was before Thermocells, so this was all bug spraying. I was like, babe, I sprayed him numerous times throughout the night.
Mosquitoes, man, sometimes they don't even care, dude.
And for the little guy, for him, I wasn't using the 40. I was only using the 25.
Yeah. So I can actually tell you something because of working in pest control and in California doing mosquito treatments. There's been a lot more within the last 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
New mosquitoes.
Oh wow.
That they'll hit you anytime throughout the day, mainly arms and calf area.
So they hit different spots on your body, pretty much.
But
these ones are more aggressive, and they're smaller than normal mosquitoes.
Learned something new again.
So I read that if there's a certain blood type,
and then also certain blood types too. Yeah,
attracts someone. That's what my son is. My buddy Jesse, allergic to mosquitoes as well. He'll get bit. He got bit in the lip one time. His lip, bloop. he looked like Professor Clump from Nutty Professor, bro. Yeah, it was bad. I felt bad, and I'm like,
oh man,
all right. He's like, dude, it's cool, man. He's like, I knew it was gonna happen,
Gosh.
And it's that blood type that it's like steroids.
You
it's
react
like
to it, yeah.
They just the mosquitoes just. You could be standing right next to them. You'll get bit a couple times, but if that rare blood type is right there,
they're just sucking on them.
They're on it.
See, and I usually go out. I still go out, man. My wife like, man, you go out there with hoodies and stuff. Yeah, I do it, dude.
Yeah.
Or long sleeve. I wear.
Well, it's I do long sleeves as well, but I know I've been doing the Under Armour long sleeves, and they're biting through that.
It. I usually wear a hoodie, man. I wear a hoodie sometimes because usually if you're on the water, you kind of get that cool, especially out there, man. It gets a little cooler than it is.
You get the breeze off the water, basically.
You know what I mean? So I've been able to endure, wearing long sleeves and whatever, you know what I mean, or a hoodie to keep myself from getting bit up. But sometimes those Thermocells are where it's at, man. Yeah. They definitely work.
They don't, and they're not scented or nothing. I mean, you can see them burning. With the light, you'll see the smoke coming up, but you don't smell them. Sometimes if I get too close, they'll kind of make me cough a little bit, but it's worth it. Yeah. Definitely, man. Thermocells, and you can find them any.
Walmart, I think I have one.
Yeah, Walmart has them,
that's where I got mine from.
Yeah, I got 2 of mine from Walmart. And Tractor Supply. Keep your eye on Tractor Supply. They sell them a lot, and they go on sale.
I need to get another one. I definitely need to get.
I have 4 of them.
See, yeah, man, dude. It's a good investment, man. Especially when you're out on the water, on a boat.
Yeah. Man, I need to get back out there. Speaking of that,
dude, I know.
What do you guys think about those bait lights that people use?
I know Jeremy uses one. He uses one because they do take awesome pictures when you're fighting fish.
And it comes up in that light.
But as far as bait, I haven't used them enough.
I've never used them,
so I don't really know. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's cool.
It looks cool.
But personally, I just don't know how well they work.
I just love darkness, man.
Yeah.
I like darkness. I like I mean I feel more confident when it's dark just because, again, my experience with having my pet flathead in the tank and, that experience really changed my whole perspective on a lot of things. A lot of people, again, I can't tell people, this is what it is, you know what I mean? Because people have their own perception of, what they see and, what they read up on. But me personally, I know for a fact that those lights, they do affect, you know what I mean? They do affect. Unless you're fishing, you know, somewhere where, take the moon, for example. Joe, you can be my witness to this. You go out to the Alamo fishing during the day, you can catch, you know, 30, 40 pounders, 20 pounders on a daily basis. Out here, it's rare that you'll catch a big flathead like that during the day because of the clarity of the water. You know what I mean? On a full moon out there at the Alamo, same thing. You know what I mean? You could go out there on a full moon because the clarity of the water is so dark. Yeah. The sun, the moon can't penetrate it. Here, these fish don't like, you know, they don't really like the light. People say, oh, the moon this, the moon. No, I'm definitely not. Yeah, you can catch one if you put the bait right there, or if the fish is within that area and they're hungry, they're going to eat regardless. Yeah. But they're not going to be on the move as they usually are. They use that to they're predators. They use that darkness to their advantage. I'm going to give you an example.
Lurk in the shadows.
Exactly. I was fishing the All-American one time. I took my boys out there, and I was walking down to the water, and I seen a whole bunch of bluegill and bass up against the bank. What does that tell you?
Something
they're lurking. They're looking. You know what I mean? During the day, these bluegill and all, they're all out there swimming, having chasing each other like Finding Nemo and stuff. You know what I mean? But I'm a big believer in that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like you can't force your opinion upon anybody. I use that. I've caught big fish. You know, doing what I know. You know what I mean? And that's just how I see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was I don't think it was a full moon during the tournament Saturday night, but there was a lot of big fish caught. It's crazy. I hate a full moon. I'll look, and if it's, you know, if I'm going to go on a full moon, it's just to go.
Yeah. Or catch it before or after it goes.
Yeah, you know, but it's crazy that night during the tournament. And it's weird because the last 2 weekends, last weekend and the weekend, there was been a lot of flathead caught during the moon. That's trip.
And that made me think, like, I'm like, dude, like, I'm over here, like, losing my mind. Yeah. And I'm like, what? But it does happen. But it doesn't happen all the time.
No, it's not. I mean, I can count.
See, one thing that I noticed, it's like where I caught that one, was that I had the shadow of the mountain right there.
See?
Yeah.
Yep. That's, and again, everybody's experience is different.
Dark there. It was dark.
You know what I mean?
And I freaking forgot my headlamp. So I was in the dark.
But you ended up catching one because you were in the dark.
Yeah. You know what I mean? All I had was my phone and it was just like, okay, let's see what I can see.
Yeah. No, that's you know what I mean? That's sometimes what you go through. You know what I mean? As a fisherman, you know, you have those nights where there's been times where I've left my headlamp too, and I'm like, dude, and I'm way out somewhere. I'm like, there's no way in heck I'm driving home, man. I'm out there in the dark, like, trying to see, you know. But that's the whole part of, you know, that's the thrill of it. You know what I mean? That's the thrill of it, and you know, this is one.
Oh shoot, I was freaking out. There was little noises here and there.
Oh yeah,
I was
man.
like, oh crap.
I got chased by. What did I get chased by? I took the boys out last year, and I got chased by I think it was a raccoon, man. He started coming at me, dude. My kids were like, they're looking at me like, because, you know, I'm not really afraid of anything, you know what I mean? You know, and they were looking at me like, look. I was like, look, there's a raccoon. He was running. You can hear him. You can hear him running, man. And I was like, yeah, no. And I didn't have my headlamp, so I couldn't. You know what? I didn't see him until I turned the headlights on my Jeep, and I saw him right with his eyes. I was like, oh yeah, no, man, he's coming after me now.
Yeah. And those things are notorious for rabies.
They
too.
are, dude.
Yep. You see those?
Oh yeah, man.
Stay away from
my
those.
Roger in the water. I'm like, man, what happens if I get hit right now?
And raccoons, raccoons, they're family. They run in families.
Dude, there was a pack of them.
Yeah, they always seems like they always have babies with them.
Yeah.
So that's when they get territorial. They get more aggressive. You know? Like, hey,
that's the first thing that went through my mind. Where the babies?
Right?
I've had experiences with raccoons before when we would go camping, Northern California, Lake Isabella.
Oh man, Kern River.
We'd go up there, camp on the river, and there was one night where we heard all this commotion, and it was just like, what the hell's going on out there? Everyone gets their lights out. This is a raccoon shoulder deep in one of our food bins.
They do that too.
Sitting there, he's like, all he had was just like one loaf of bread, and there was nothing else. And this is a big, probably, I don't know, 15-liter tub, and he's sitting there like that, shoulder deep, trying to grab it, and he can't grab it.
Dude, they're smart animals, bro. They're smart animals, man. They definitely are. People have these things as pets. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
With no raccoon.
Right? Little toddler running around, basically.
Pretty much. Get little thumbs. Yeah. Raccoon.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen a lot of them on the All-American, when we used to fish up in Imperial Dam, when they used to let you fish in there.
You can't fish up there no more, huh?
Yes and no. It's kind of who you know. I guess.
Yeah, I figured.
One of those type of things, and for like my tournaments, no, they're out. I don't allow them in my tournaments, because my thing is if everybody can't fish it, nobody can fish it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've had to DQ a fish because he was in there and he's like, dude, I'm sorry. He knew he didn't. Like, he realized, and then I resent him the flyer. He's like, dude, I'm sorry. I didn't read it right. I apologize. Yeah, this fish is, we'll move down. So they moved down, and he sent me a location. I said, okay, that you're good. I said, that's now you're in legal boundaries, But back in the days when they used to let it, this was pre 9/11, before 9/11, because 9/11 is when they closed all that down.
Oh, that's when they closed all that down.
Yeah. So, man, the raccoon families were crazy, and it was like everywhere you see, you're like, all right, dude, I'm in their hood. I'm in their hood now. I better watch that. Yeah, I better respect, and if they come creeping in, let them have what they want.
Like here, you can have the crackers, whatever you want.
You want mustard and mayonnaise on that sandwich? I got you, bro. One of those.
There was a guy recently where me and my buddy, we had went fishing. And there was a guy across from us on a boat. We were just there on the shore. He was on a boat fishing. He was pulling up flatheads here and there. And then there was another guy, a friend of his, that pulled up, and he parked himself over in the reeds on the same side that we were. And what time was it? It was probably 9, 10-ish. All you hear is...
Oh, man, he took him out.
Oh.
Raccoon was trying to get up onto his boat.
Oh yeah, nah.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do, yeah. It's either you, Mr. Raccoon, or me, and it's definitely gonna be you, Mr. Raccoon. If I'm
right, I ain't trying to get rabies.
I'm strapped. Yeah,
that's exactly.
I'm good on that, man.
Raccoon was trying to get in my boat.
Yeah, nope. Don't play that, man. Don't play that.
Yeah. That's why you carry,
Yeah.
One of the reasons why you carry.
I do everywhere I go, man. Not just because of that, but just the safety, and because a lot of places that we fish, it's
Well, that being a border town here, you never know. We've had Border Patrol pull up on us and down at the bend, Cocopa Bend. And you guys strapped? No, not tonight, because that night we were going from there. We were going to go to the California side. So he's like, not tonight. I said, we're going to hit California. So with the laws, we left him at home. He's like, good choice, but be careful. There's a group that just came across and.
Keeping an eye on them.
This isn't the good group. These are the violent ones. So be careful, and we'll monitor you guys. We'll stay close, this and that.
See, and they're cool.
Like, hey, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, and
they're usually pretty cool, man.
They kept rolling by, and we never seen any, in any of those dudes. But it was just like, wow, And that's when I told my wife when I go home. She's like, why didn't you carry? And I'm like, well, because we were gonna go to California, and this and that.
You gotta be careful. Yeah, you just gotta be careful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So that's why I ended up getting me a revolver.
Yeah.
Kind of
smart.
Game changer.
Yeah.
I'm going to worry about a magazine under a certain amount. I get stopped.
Those 6 rounds.
Yeah. There's a 5 round.
5
round. Yeah. So
Nice.
But so now we're always ready.
You have to be, man.
Yep.
You have to be, man. You got to protect yourself, man, while you enjoy what you do.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, heck yeah, man. Give me a drink real quick. So.
Oh yeah, it's like I had a buddy of mine that he used to come out here towards somewhere right here past Gordon Wells area, but he was more like right along the border. I guess I don't know if there's an area right there that you can shoot or something like that, or unless he was in
probably just somewhere in the sand dunes.
Probably.
Yeah, it's open dunes out there.
But he was out there one time and they're shooting targets, and next thing you know, people crossing by while he's shooting. It's just like and next thing you know, you see Border Patrol
right after him.
Yep.
It's crazy, man.
It's crazy because back in the days before they put the border wall up there, it was just a road. I don't know if you've been back there or not. It's just a road. It's south of the freeway. And this is when I used to drive the tow truck, and there was a car. Our guys rolled their truck. They rolled their Ford. Bloop, bloop. And when I got out there, I was like, dang. They're like, what's going on, man? I said, you're across the border, bro. I said, you're in Mexico. And I called my boss, and I told him the location. He's like, can you get it? Can you pull it across real quick? I said, yeah, but who knows who's here watching us, He's like, that's up to you. He's like, that's a judgment call. He's like, he says, but he says, tell the guys money talks. So, tell the guys.
Money talks, man.
The guy was like, I don't care how much you charge. I got to get this truck out of here. So I winched it, got it over, and right as I'm bringing it, bloop, 4 quads roll up. These from the south. All right. These guys are decked out in full vests, you know.
Oh, dude, this already sounds
like ARs, you know, glasses. I mean, they were, you could tell what they were, you know. And so I stopped, and I made sure I was across the border because if anything happens, you know, I mean, at least
I don't know on our side.
I'm our side, and then it's a whole different ballgame. If I'm over there, is the government going to help me out if it comes to that point? Probably not, you know. And at that point, it's like, so I'm like, they're like, start speaking Spanish, and I'm like, you know, let's get in the truck. I pointed to the company, and I'm like, you know, these guys wrecked. And they looked at me. They asked the guys, how much money do you got? I told the guy, I said, I'm done. I unhooked it. I pulled my chain in, and I said,
I'm done.
Yeah.
And the guys, they understood. They jumped in my truck, and we split. They left it there. Yeah, they left it there because those guys were not leaving. They were like, it was a good 10-minute standoff, you know. And I'm just like, you know, I didn't have nothing on me. But I mean, what is one guy or whatever
compared with all? Yeah,
there was
loaded.
I think 4 of them.
Yeah,
and they were all decked out, like I said, you know.
No. I mean, like, yep, nope, with the truck.
Yeah, I'm like, take that truck.
Yeah,
you want my tow truck? Take my tow truck.
Yeah.
Just let me go home.
Your life isn't worth it, man. Your life definitely isn't worth it, man.
It was one of those things, and they didn't say you could go, and they didn't say you could stay. They just watched us. They stared at us.
That's even worse.
So I told the guys, I said, get in my truck and let's go.
Yeah, that's scary.
And they just looked at me, and I said, don't talk. So we backpedaled, jumped in the truck, and we cruised. I said, just keep your eye on them. And we dipped, and they just watched us. It was the scariest thing
I don't know what I would. Man, I probably, avoid that situation at all costs, man. I need to get home to my family.
So, with now it's just, you got to carry, man. You have to. You got to be careful, you know.
It's a safety thing, man.
Yeah, and fishing out there, you know, in the dark.
Oh, yeah.
You
never know, man. You never know, man.
I carry it a lot during the summertime, too. You know, snakes and all.
Oh, yeah.
You never know. I got these one spots where I go to. It's funny because I took a buddy out with me one time, and we're talking. We pulled up, and I say, hey, watch for snakes. He's like, what? And I'm like,
he about to boo-boo himself.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean what? We're in their territory.
You're in the desert.
We are fishing their hunting grounds. So just respect it. He's like, you think there's any around? I said, yeah, they like to hang out on the other side. So you know at the spills on the All-American, you know, when it drops like on the north side. So there was one way east that we went to. And on the west side of the cement, there was always snakes there.
Oh man!
And
that was like their hangout spot.
Yeah, right? I could kill one because I'm not gonna lie, I'm that guy. When I go out and I see a rattlesnake, especially in a fishing spot or a hunting spot,
you take him out.
He's not gonna be there no more.
Yeah, take him out.
You know, I'm taking him out, and I'm not just throwing him away. I'm taking the hide. I'll gut him, cut the rattler off. You know, I like tanning snakes. You know,
nice.
And
so you eat them too?
I won't eat them. My buddy ate them. He ate a gopher snake one.
Did he really?
We pulled up and somebody had just run it over to one of our fishing spots, and he was still moving around, but he was done.
Yeah.
So my buddy cut the head off. I'm like, what are you gonna do with that? He's like, I'm gonna take him home and eat him. I'm like, that's a gopher snake. I'm like, that's okay. I was
whatever.
Like, maybe. Yeah. He got it home and he cooked it. He threw it on the grill, and it was so tough. I mean, you couldn't do nothing. It was
I've had rattlesnake before. And it was very fishy to me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really? I've had people tell me that it's chicken texture. You know, I guess it's maybe how you cook it. Maybe if you soaked it, and you probably get some people comment on that, and you soaked it in some buttermilk. You know,
yeah, I've seen people. Yeah,
it'll because buttermilk is it's a setting. It'll tenderize it out. I don't know.
Who knows?
But yeah, so I told my buddy. You know, back to the story. I told my buddy. I said, watch. I said, look over that ridge right there. I said, get your light. I said, there's probably one bunned up right there, you know?
Sure.
And he looked, he's like, he comes on, he's like, you weren't lying. He's like, you set me up, bro. And I'm like, I just told you to look. Sure enough, man, little 3.5, 4 footer, curled up, you know, just, you know, ready.
That's crazy.
So, you know, I went over there. I didn't have a strap with me that night. I had my machete. Went over there.
Chop him.
Cut his head off, you know. Took him home, threw him in the bag, and told him, I said, dude, you got to be careful. They're here, bro.
Oh, man.
So, you know, that's why I mainly carry.
Yeah.
You know?
Gosh, dude. Yeah. I know. I need to be more cautious of that, too, because I'd be out there just fishing. I'd be in my own little world, dude. Like, I'll look when I get out. And then I'd get right in the zone. Well, like, all right, here we go.
So,
you know what I mean?
What do we do when we're fishing the All-American? You know, and we're sitting up top.
Yep.
We got our rods on the bottom, and we get a hit. What do we do?
We run straight down. Bro, not paying attention. Dude, you're
focused on that pole the whole time.
Dude, you get that hit, and you fly down there, and then you grab that rod, and then you start thinking
I'm already
in your head.
thinking now. I'm like, dude.
You start thinking in your head, like, I could have just stepped on one. We could be on our way to the hospital right now.
Ah, that's scary.
You know,
I gotta remind myself of that, man.
I still do it to this day, bro. I remind myself every time. I tell everybody.
After the fact, you went and grabbed your pole.
Yeah, and I've probably even reminded you when you've gone fishing. Watch out for snakes.
Yeah, no, you do.
Yeah, everybody I take. Yeah. Watch out for snakes. You know, when I take my little guy with me, Tristan, even my wife, you know, when she has to use the restroom or whatever, I tell her, keep your eyes on the ground.
Yep.
We all carry headlamps. Keep your eyes on the ground. Because my wife almost stepped on one time.
God, dude.
You know, and she broke off. I told her to follow me because she didn't have a light at the time. Stupid me. I should have gave her a light. I was the only one with the headlamp. So I told her, follow me. Just stay in my tracks, you know. Well, she ventured off.
Oh, man.
And all of a sudden I hear her screaming. And I knew. I was like, she got bit by a rattlesnake.
Dude, that's the worst thing, dude.
He was curled up, and she almost stepped on him. She said she got inches from taking
scary,
a step.
Dude.
And that thing he would have got her, and we were so far out. We were across from Laguna Dam on that side. We had to come all the way around from Senator side.
Gosh, dude.
I would have had to have her air vac out.
Yeah, there's
if she
no way.
Because we wouldn't have made it out in time. By the time we would have got out there, and I had my big F-250, by the time we would have got out there, I mean, who knows what would have happened.
That's scary.
You know?
Yeah.
So after that, I told her, you go fishing with me. So I'm obsessed with headlamps and lights.
Me too.
So I get 6 of them, 7 of them charged.
I have like 5 of them with me, dude. Extra batteries, the charged ones too.
I always tell my buddy, carry an extra headlamp, because there's been times when he goes with me and either dead or he forgets it at home. Yeah. So I always keep an extra one in my tackle bag. Like my Whisker Seeker headlamp, that one stays in my tackle bag, and it's always fully charged.
Got to be smart about it, man.
You got it.
We'll say it's like how that time with me with that little fish.
Yeah.
How I forgot everything. That was a spur of the moment, like, fishing thing, because I got home, my wife or some of her friends were like, "Oh, we're gonna go to Schitt's Creek, whatever it is, to go just hang out out there." Yeah. And then they canceled, so I was sitting here just like, well, they canceled. Oh well. She was like, "Go fishing." I was like, "Yes." I don't need to go
see
fishing.
you later.
Do it.
I was like, "I don't need to go fishing." Then she's like, "Go, because you're already prepared." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah. See, that's.
And like I packed everything, and the one thing I forgot was my lamp.
It's always like that, man. Even if I try to like pack like ahead of time, I'm always forgetting something. I'll get out there, I'm like, oh my god. There've been times, dude, where I'm headed out and I'm like halfway to where I'm going, and I'm like, my bait.
I always tell people
my bait, dude.
I always tell people
full of bait, dude.
Yeah, I always tell people, and I know, and I catch crap for this. It's come on, you don't have to do that. Do a checklist. I do it. I go through rods, check. Tackle, check. Ice chest,
chairs.
Check. Full of water, check. Chairs, oh, dude. You don't take a chair fishing, dude, you're night screwed. You're sitting like this all night.
Dude.
You're stretching
uncomfortable.
Then you're like, I want to go home. I want to go home. You know,
you can't be close to the rods.
I don't take a chair.
No?
I sit on my ice chest.
My dad used to do the same thing.
Yeah, I sit on my ice chest the whole time.
Yeah,
I can't do it, man. I don't know, maybe it's my age, you know.
I can't do it either, man. I get uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I gotta sit in the chair, bro.
Yeah.
I gotta sit in the chair.
Yep.
I have to,
that's it. When you go on Jeremy's boat, it's such a big boat.
He has a pontoon, right?
Yeah, he carries he has a zero gravity chair on there. So
that's dope.
So there was a couple times when he went on it, and Jeremy'd sit in his little captain chair, and I always get the far side. Well, I ended up getting the zero gravity chair that night. Dude, it's so comfortable. So he was like, next trip, I'm getting that zero gravity. So the last time that he went out before he got hurt, it was me, him, and Alfredo. I was like, Jeremy, zero gravity, that's yours. He's like, oh, that's mine tonight. Dude, he stayed on it all night. He crashed for a couple hours. Yeah, he crashed for a couple hours, you know, and he's got a couch type bed.
That's
cool. I crashed on a cat. Dude, his boat, speaking of his boat, that's the boat to go.
I want to get on that thing, man.
Yeah.
He told me about that too, and I was like...
And it's like, Jeremy's such a cool dude. It's like open invitation, you know, and he'll post on the page, and he'll post, you know, this and that if people are looking, and then he'll message me, hey, do you know so-and-so? And he'll be like, I need to know, and I'll be like, man, not the kind of guy you want to get on your boat, you know. And I would never send anybody that I didn't personally trust.
Yeah,
or
definitely.
if I personally didn't know, I would tell them, look, I don't know. You got to take your chance either way, but just
very
be
selective,
careful.
man. You have to be very
you just
selective.
never know, you know?
Yeah, no, you definitely have to be selective, man, especially out there.
His boat is fun. And the cool thing about going with Jeremy is he loves going upriver. So if you love going upriver,
that's the guy to me.
and you probably know some good spots upriver too. I'm still learning up there.
There's some definitely some good little holes and pockets up there. That probably you never know. Ryan probably hit one of those spots that
he said something about potholes.
Yeah, so it's probably one of those. And if kind of back on the subject of fishing too, like if you notice, like a lot of these guys that fish, back east, on these big rivers, they'll be sitting out sometimes like in the middle of like a channel.
Oh yeah.
And they're fishing those, and that's what I've done too, like fishing in Somerton or like these different places. I've fished these spots where there's holes, because that's where the flathead will sit like that and wait for something and they'll hit it.
So on that, I have a friend that I used to work with, and he's caught some big fish in certain spots. And I fished that areas and maybe pulled a 30 out. I think I pulled 140 out. This guy, I'm talking about, they pulled like 260s out. One dude pulled a 65.
That's crazy.
No lie. I saw the scale, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That's crazy.
So I said, what's your secret, bro? I said, you don't have to tell me. I've been in the game. I said, I can maybe figure it out. But what's your secret? He said, no lie, Joe. He says, this is what we do. He said, we go out, I'll tie 2 or 3 8-ounce sinkers on a line, and I'll cast it out. And I'll walk on top, and I'll drag it. And this was before all the toolies were to where you can't do that now.
Yeah.
Okay, before they were grown in, when they used to spray and keep them under control. And he would walk, and he would keep tension on the line. And because 3 8-ounce, that's 24 ounces of weight. It's going to stick. It's not going to move. You're going to have to drag it. And he would drag it, and he would feel for them. And he'd feel bloop, bam, and hit the bottom. There's holes in that area on the All-American. There's holes, where he would feel them drop. And he'd go and he'd mark it, on the top.
But that's a perfect example. Like when you say like you fish the certain spots that you fish, where the current kind of goes around, it builds a score hole.
Yeah.
And they sit there and they wait.
Yeah.
That's that's one thing that you can. That's just a way that you can start learning. You know
so
what I mean?
It's like how you guys are talking about stuff like that. So each year, me and my family, or my wife's family, would do that Yuma River float right here, where like
the float down.
The float down where they drop you in right there where the Gila meets the Colorado, and we just float down.
Yeah.
So I bring a snorkel and stuff and everything when we go.
Yeah.
I'm always looking at the bottom and stuff, seeing what's down there.
Yeah.
You can see all that structure and everything underneath. It digs in at least a good 4 or 5 feet under.
Yeah. So if you have any trees in the river and log jams or anything, any roots,
I found barrels
Yeah.
that are just in the river.
Good stuff, man.
So you have that stuff. You have that structure that's not going nowhere. It's there. That water just runs, and it's just creating that
digs.
hole.
It just digs. Yeah.
It's carrying that water. It's natural. It's carrying that water out of there, and that's natural habitats for those big fish. That's a good hiding spot for bait fish, and then the predators.
Come in and just.
No, it's like I fish when we float.
Yeah.
Hell
Sitting there pulling a bluegill here and there.
Oh yeah,
that's the last flow down I did. Man, I took a bass rod, and it's funny because we had a big raft. And in the middle of the raft, they had where they were putting the coolers at, and it was like a little, I don't know, little square thing. And so I started throwing water in there, and I'm catching bass. Throwing bass in there.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Hey, Danny, what?" I'm like,
"Hey,
what I'm doing? I'm having fun."
Yeah, man, we all having a good time. Let me do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So y'all just drink your beer, drink your liquor,
exactly.
Drink your liquor. Do what y'all do, man. Just let me do what I'm doing. I'm fishing. I ain't bothering nobody.
Exactly.
Let me do what I'm doing, bro.
Mind your business. That's all. Mind your business.
Mind your business. You ain't got no gas in it.
Yeah. So those float downs, man. I don't even know. Speaking of float down, I don't know if I would trust that river right now,
dude.
The lower,
it's
confluence.
gone down.
Yeah. I've seen that. I was there. I went there yesterday to. It's funny because one of my bait spots. Speaking of bait spots, tilapia.
God, dude.
Yeah.
I stopped there on some too, dude.
Dude, I'm no lie, bro. I'm in 3 throws because I've been throwing a throw net now this year and last year. In 3 throws, I had a 5-gallon bucket, 3/4 full.
Whoa!
I was picking my bait out of which ones I wanted.
Want this one. I don't want that one.
Exactly. No, but not. I'm talking about dumping them out. Or handfuls.
What?
They're so thick in there right now.
That's dope, bro.
So they're so thick. Me and my boy, after we caught our bait, we're throwing crankbaits. I was like, there's got to be bass in
there.
Yeah.
Just chowing down on those guys.
Uh-huh. We're snagging the carp on accident. I mean, I'm sorry, the tilapia, because they were so thick. Yeah.
That's freaking awesome. That's awesome. Don't tell nobody that's
no, bro.
That's a rule of thumb. You never tell. Yeah. Unless you guys, like, I can trust Joe. Hey, man, like, you need some bait. I got a spot where you need to go if yours is dead. Out of multiple people, he's one that I would trust, you know what I mean, to be able to go and, if we were in a situation where I couldn't go or he couldn't find something or whatever. But I've made the mistake a couple times of, letting people know about the bait spots, thinking I can trust them, and they were cleaned out.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because people will go in and they'll catch way more bait than they need.
Yeah.
They'll go out, they'll use their 5 or 6 tilapia, 8 tilapia, and
this is the worst part.
Get rid of the rest or let them die.
Yep.
Leave them on the bank.
Man.
I went to the Alamo, man, when I went there, or the New River, and dude, there was bluegill, dead ones, right there at the spot, just right there in the dirt, and I'm like,
man,
you know what I mean? And it was kind of like a hard spot. I've actually fell in the water trying to get the fish, dude, and my woman was all scared, dude. She was, because it was a spot where it kind of funneled, like it kind of funneled, but yeah. People just don't care, dude. Nope. Like, and that takes away from.
You gotta respect the resource there,
man. You know what I mean? Like, you're taking away from the people who actually love the sport. You know what I mean? The people, not just that, the habitat of these fish, man. Like, you're killing these fish that make the world go around. You know what I mean? Because if you're killing all these bait fish, take what you need. I usually take on a night, depending on how long I plan on staying, I'll take maybe 10 or 11, 12.
That's
what
us.
I mean?
That's us. Yep.
And then if I don't use them all, I'll freeze them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I'll freeze them. Cut bait. But there's people that just leave them there. Like, dude, come on. Like, be respectful for nature.
Yeah.
I've had some ones like where it's just like I had like 2 fish left over, and it's just like, okay, go back in the water.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you're just taking them and just that's a real big pet peeve of mine, man. And
we went out. We found a good carp spot up there where we found it at, and we went out one day. We caught 5 big carp, and this was in March when actually it was February. It was still cold, because in February and in the early months and when it's cold, the carp will congregate together.
Oh, yeah.
They'll run in thick schools to where that's just what they do. They search for warm water, and then they all keep each other warm. And that's when you can catch them the easiest. Find the big schools, and that's when you catch them. So we went in there, we caught 5 big carp, and I remember I posted on the page, and somebody made a comment like, "Hey, well, isn't that a waste? What do you plan on doing with all those?" Trust me, every part of this carp is going to get used. And I threw them in the freezer, and that was all the carp that I needed to get through the when the prime catfishing started in April all the way till October. We ran through those carp. And it wasn't a waste. It wasn't, oh, you're catching too much. No, we used every part of it. But like Brandon said, when I go out and I catch live bait, bluegill or whatever, 10, 11, 12 maybe at the most.
And you try to be selective of the ones that you want to keep. You know what I mean? That's why you try to catch as many as you can within a certain window.
Yeah.
So you can kind of pick and choose which ones you want.
So my rule of thumb is everything you catch goes in the bucket. All right.
Yep. Exactly.
Then when you get to a point where you're like, all right, we need to start, dump a little water out, start throwing the little ones back, or the ones whatever you feel like you need. Yeah. We'll start throwing them back. We've caught 30, 40 bluegill in one area. Ended up taking maybe 10, 12. The rest went back.
Sort out the sizes too.
Yeah. And that way, we don't take too much and none goes to waste, and it's
another one gets to grow. For another day,
and they're there for the next guy.
Yep.
Like, remember when Pack was full of bluegill?
Bro, there's man.
People were going in there and they were catching bucketfuls and taking them.
Yeah.
I know somebody personally that was doing that, and it was like I questioned him, like, why, bro? Like, what are you doing? I said, are you using all 35 of those bluegill? Well, I'm like, okay, then what are you doing with the rest? Are you throwing them back? You could have left, 25 of those bluegill for the next person.
He was over.
And they don't replenish. They don't replenish in those ponds like they do, on the river.
Or a lot of them there are planted too.
They're planted, exactly. And that takes away. And those ponds are built for the people. And that's cool. You go and get your bait, do whatever. But a lot of those ponds are built for these kids to be able to take these kids out and give them a chance to experience fishing. And when you take, I've been working where I work. I work there. I was at the Pack. I see people fishing every day, and nobody pulls anything out of there.
Yeah, it's
I even told him one time.
It's a shame, and I see all these little kids there, and my kids are spoiled because obviously they've been exposed to being able to they don't worry about that. You know what I mean? They rather go, let's go get bait here. Well, I'm gonna go catch some big fish. You know what I mean? But for these people who are just learning and wanting to get that experience, even the adults, you know what I mean? With Joe's page and stuff like that, which I'm proud of you, man, because I was there right when he started it. You know what I mean? But that allows people to see what's out there. And give people the ability to learn how to fish and go out here and do these things. And with these ponds where the people are sucking these fish out of these ponds. Yeah. It's not like they stock them all the time.
Nope.
No. Yeah.
Humanity is growing. Yeah. And trying to keep up with these fish farms and trying to do it it's a domino effect, and I don't think people really understand, how all that works. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's sad to see that these people go there and don't catch anything. You know what I mean?
Well, you see it too, even heavier with whenever the snowbirds come up too.
Dude. Oh God, that's like a whole different. Like with Fortuna Pond.
That's where I'd gone a few times, and it's just like
that pond used to be amazing.
It's cleaned out.
Wow. That pond used to be amazing. I used to catch some big bass out of there, dude.
Hey, speaking of that, is it opened up again now?
Yeah,
I don't know. Is it?
It's opened back up.
Okay. Yeah,
I think BLM just posted or something like that.
Really?
No.
They reopened.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a good spot. We used to go there and catch some bluegill as well for bait.
You can go out there at night and catch bluegill, dude.
Yeah, and it's. I know there was a guy a couple of years ago. He was a military guy. He ended up getting transferred to somewhere in Japan, I think. But he was catching big bass, and he was throwing a trout, big old trout lure.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And because what happens is they stock that pond with trout, and those bass were feeding on that trout. And they were getting big.
Man.
So he figured it out.
Yeah.
And was throwing and he caught 9.5, 8 pounds.
And they're in there.
Yeah, and he ended up having a replica made of it.
That's dope.
See, I wonder how it is though now after the whole overflow of it getting flooded.
I don't. From what I've seen down on the lower river with all that water, the river basically kind of went downhill on the lower part past the confluence.
It's killed a lot of fish, man.
So I would think it'd probably do the same thing in there,
Because I heard it pushed out a lot of bait fish out of there.
Well, this guy's seen it too. Did you hear about that carp running? All the carp running down at the lower river?
Oh no,
dude, there was thousands of them.
Dang. But they were all decaying and they looked sick.
So the couple that I seen, I ended up catching one. I caught it with my hand. I mean, you catching these fish because they're so distraught.
Yeah,
they don't know what And the couple that I did see, they had spots all over them. They looked weird. They almost looked like a piebald.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just like, what the heck is going on? This is a trip. So something was not. There was something in that water that came down.
Well, it's like
picked up.
All that stuff hadn't flowed for how long?
Oh God, dang!
All the stuff from the sediment and the soil, everything came. Oh, dude.
Yeah, that just years. I mean that river hadn't flowed.
So it's like you have all that silt and stuff that just took up all the oxygen out of the water.
It drained.
Killed a lot of fish that way.
I was trying to fish. I remember I was telling you the story, Joe. I was out fishing, just took the kids out just for a quick run or whatever, and I had some bait, man, and I was like, I'm just gonna stop right here and try it, because I had caught a flathead out of that Gila gravity or the Gila River one time. I just tried it and I caught it, so I was like, they're in there.
Yeah,
I already knew. So I was like, I'm just gonna try it, man. So I threw my baits out there and 10 minutes went by. I was like, the kids were getting all restless and stuff, and they were getting tired. So I was like, I'm going to go. I pulled the baits out, bro, and they were dead.
Jesus Christ.
No oxygen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that quick.
No oxygen.
Yeah.
And that water was, red, dude. It looked like there was some kind of toxic stuff. Just out of the lower river. It was real brown. And
man, it's kind of starting to clean up a little bit. I seen it yesterday. It's not as bad, but when it first, man, it was bad. My buddy Alfredo, he's got a spot on the lower river. He found a good hole and he was tearing them up. He caught I think it was 37 out of there.
Nice.
Oh wow!
And he caught I think another 20 and
nice.
And he caught a good one out of there last year. He didn't get to weigh it, but it was probably mid 20s.
Nice.
And good spot, And he fished one of my tournaments there That was when I did that bait tank. I think the bait tank tournament, and it was right after that water flowed through there, and it was so deep. And he's like, "Bro, yeah, there's got to be something big in here. Not a bite, not a nibble, not nothing."
That's crazy. Yeah, that goes to show you, man.
Well, it's like I heard just recently as well. It's like that whole area, the way the river runs right there changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because it pushed a whole bunch of stuff right there.
It did. Well, I mean, look what happened with that. Unfortunately, that fatality they had, with the float down.
Yeah.
I mean, that hasn't happened in years.
Yeah.
I mean, and then look at the water conditions. I worked down there. I worked with the wetlands a lot.
Down there a lot.
You know David Eccles,
yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. He was telling me, he's like, dude, it's bad. He's like, this river, he's like, I wouldn't get it. And he fishes the lower river too. He's got a bunch of spots that he's cleared out, and he's been fishing there for a while. And he's like, dude, my spots are dead right now. He says the water's just so bad. He's like, I don't even want to be down there.
Yeah, that sucks, man. That sucks.
I mean, you can't help, Mother Nature. You can't help. I mean, they had to release that water. I mean, what are you going to do? You can't.
They can do it,
you can't get mad. You can't. Goddamn people, why'd they do that?
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
it's the cycle.
Yeah.
Now it's time to start over.
Those big fish, I think a lot of those big fish, because I know when I took the kids down there, we were fishing by the little island down there. Mm-hmm. Right by the hotel. Mm-hmm. We caught a couple bluegill there, healthy bluegill. Yeah. They ended up dying because we ended up hooking them or whatever.
Yeah.
But they were still alive and kicking. So I'm sure like a lot of the bigger fish, like the big catfish and stuff, or the bass, I'm sure they still managed, but I'm sure it did kill quite a few fish, man.
Yeah.
I believe it. Yeah,
dude. It had to have.
Well, the wetlands pond, they suck in from that river.
Man.
And a lot of those, there was a lot of floating fish. Eccles said that one day after all that happened, he counted on 10, 12 floating channel cat. And I mean those channel cat, they're farm raised channel cat.
Yeah,
they're not as
strong, as hardy as
but I mean they kind of adapt.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
But they couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it.
There was definitely something in there, man.
Mm-hmm. So. That's unfortunate, but again,
have you guys ever heard of people catching small flatties out of any of those community ponds?
My woman actually, she caught one out of the Somerton pond. Actually,
yeah, I've heard there's a couple small flatheads in the Somerton pond. Yeah. I think my buddy back in the days caught a small one out of the West Wetlands. Nothing, maybe 2 pounds.
I heard they said that there was some in there too. No.
Yeah, well, I had heard also that somebody released like a 20. In the West Wetlands.
Really?
Yeah. Somebody released a 20 in the West Wetlands. But, I mean...
That's that Somerton right there.
Oh, wow.
Geez, that's a nice flathead. You wonder, though, is that... Somebody throw that in there? Or how'd that get in there? You know what I mean? When they initially...
Yeah.
So how they did these ponds, when they initially stocked them, I know... I can't speak for Somerton Pond, but I know, like, with Pack, the initial stocking was bluegill, and it was bait fish. It was smaller bait fish. So bluegill, probably some mosquito minnows. The mosquito minnows, those are controlled. Used to control the mosquitoes, obviously. But just bait fish.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, with some catfish. And there were some bass in there. Well, I don't even know if is there any little bass in there still? Or
yeah, I was going to tell you. I actually saw 3 of them. I saw a nice one.
Yeah?
Saw a nice one in there. For whatever reason, they were out and about yesterday.
Wow, yeah.
I saw about 3 of them. Nice ones, too. About 1.5 pounds.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, so how a flathead gets in there? I mean, and that's a healthy flathead.
That's a healthy flathead.
That's a healthy flathead.
Yeah, when she caught that, I was like, right when she caught it, when she hooked up on, I was like, yeah, this isn't. Yeah,
not a normal fish.
This is not a normal fish, dude. The way it was fighting, I already knew when she pulled it out, and we were like, what?
Yeah,
a flathead in here? But I'm sure, I'm sure. Somebody, I don't know. You never know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the pond on 20th Street, I know that one has flatheads in there just because it comes off of, there's that ditch.
Yep.
That runs. So I'm sure.
Well, there's bass in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've caught some nice ones.
Have you seen the carp coming out of there?
I've caught some carp for bait too, bro.
Oh, jeez.
Dude, you know which pond it is? It's right there on Windsor. It's a Windsor pond.
Windsor pond.
Oh, okay.
20th. Dude,
yeah,
there's some.
See, I've drove past that many times for work, and I was like,
the duck pond.
I always see ducks there.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this seems like an area with fish, just because it's a pond right there, and they would probably throw something in there just to kind of keep up with the algae and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know, and I never see anybody there.
Yeah, red rattletrap.
Yeah.
Tune in tomorrow for part 2 of this 2-parter episode.